All right, there's going to be no way we can balance the scale unless we figure out what mistakes we're making, right? Let's you and I be honest with each other on this. And if you want to bring some of these to the coaching calls, I'm happy to help you, okay? But these are common mistakes. If you're like, oh man, I'm doing one of these, I'm doing two of these, I'm doing all of these, right? If you're making all of these mistakes, I don't want you to be hard on yourself. Everybody makes these mistakes. If you're like, I don't make a single one of these mistakes, you're not being honest with yourself. There's a pretty good chance you make all of these. I make all of these at some point, right? We want to make sure that we're aware of these mistakes. The only way we're going to avoid making them if we're aware of them. Okay, so the first one, being subservient throughout the sales cycle, right? I can't do 10 o'clock. Oh, great. When can you do a meeting, right? Being subservient, okay? Huge mistake. We're not conveying any sense of self-pride, any sense of, hey, I'm important. I'm not saying your time's more important than your buyers, but both of your time is important, okay? I never want you to verbally communicate that, by the way. Hey, my time's important. Don't ever say that. But I want you to be aware of the fact that your time is important. Your time is valuable. You're adding value to this process. This needs to be a collaboration, not a dictatorship. If you're being subservient and your customer is controlling every aspect of the deal, which they're going to try and do, it can't help but not work in your favor. All right, second one. And this is huge. This is vital. Nobody ever talks about this in negotiation, but this is critical to your negotiation. Not having a big enough pipeline, okay? If you've only got 4 deals that you're working, any one single of those deals falling out of your pipeline is a complete disaster for you, right? So you want to make sure that you have a big enough pipeline. When you've got a pipeline that's overflowing and Acme wants to cancel the 2 o'clock meeting, in a slight way, you're like, good, right? That gives me more time to work with my other clients, right? No problem, right? Now you're in control. The first and best way for you to get in control, the best way to make sure that you're not being subservient is to make sure that you have a massive pipeline. Then you're not freaked out, right? If you've got 1,000 deals in your pipeline and one of them starts to push you around, I've got 999 other deals, right? I'm not saying be a jerk. I'm not saying don't service people. But when you only have 4 deals and you're that needy, your prospects can't help but see just how needy you are and take advantage of it, all right? Being overly willing to price drop. I'm going to say that again because it's so important. One of the biggest mistakes that we make is being overly willing to price drop. We're going to talk about this a lot more in this course and other courses. When you are willing to price drop so easily and you don't make it a negotiation, you are actually training your buyers not to buy from you. You are actually training your buyers not to buy from you. Why? You were so quick to price drop, you're now training them that the longer they hang out, the longer they delay, what's going to happen with the price? It's going to continue to go down, right? And I know this is going to sound ridiculous to you, but at a subconscious level, let's tail that all out. They wait, price goes down. They push back, price goes down. They complain, price goes down. Eventually, you're going to have to pay them, right? Because the price is going to hit 0, and then you'll be negotiating with them to pay them to take your product. Again, I know that sounds ridiculous, but at a very subconscious level, that's where that line is headed. That's the mentality that you're projecting when you're overly willing to price drop, right? Giving without getting, okay? Both in your professional life and in your personal life. Giving without giving. You want to make sure that everything is a give and a take. Everything is a give and a take. What happens when you give take, okay? Even if it's something as simple as, hey, if I lower the price 10%, here's what I'm going to need from you, okay? I'm going to need a video testimonial from you. Fair enough, right? When everything is a give-get, even if it's something as simple as them giving you a testimonial, what's happening with that value curve? It's staying flat, right? I'm giving them something, they're getting me something. I'm giving them something, they're giving me something, right? Give-get, that line stays flat and you're not training your prospects to wait because they're seeing, okay, well, this is the line. I can take something away, but I'm going to have to give something as well. And that line is staying flat, right? Lowering your price with each meeting. How many times have you been guilty of this? I've been guilty of this in the past, right? Every time you meet with them, you lower your price. Every time you have a meeting, you lower your price. What is that training them to do? Hey, we need to think about it. Let's have another meeting. Hey, why don't we figure out how to have 3 more meetings? We'll get 3 more price drops, right? That is a bad habit to start. Not seeing the value in your product yourself, okay? This is so huge. We don't see the value ourselves, right? This is why I like, when I have companies, I like to make sure that everybody that works for me has actually bought the product and has actually paid full price for the product. I'm not going to sell anything that I'm not going to pay full price for. Why? If you're getting your own products for free and you don't see the value, how can you project that value to your prospects? Now, if you're working in an industry like management consulting and you're like, I don't need management consulting, figure out a way to make sure that you see every penny of the value. To the degree that you see the value will be the degree that you can sell the value, and not a penny more. So make sure that you see the value in your products. If you need help with this, bring them to the weekly coaching call. I'll come up with some exercises for you to help you better see the value, okay? Not being able to tolerate silence. What's a good next step then? And letting that silence sink in. Far too often as negotiators, we get uncomfortable with silence. And for us, it's an away game. For our buyers, it's a home game. For our buyers, they're patient. For us, we're what? Anxious, and that anxiety leads to us typically being able to tolerate 1/3 the amount of silence. So if our prospect is willing to let silence go for 10 seconds, we're busting out and starting to talk at 3, all right? You have to get more comfortable with being able to tolerate that silence, okay? Closing prematurely. Now, in the closing course, we gave you a close that will work on either a close or advance. I'm okay with you advancing prematurely. You can't advance prematurely, okay? Make sure that you know the difference between here's all of the steps that I need to advance my prospect through. Don't just go for the close right in the beginning, right? If you need them to commit to the next step is to get the board in a meeting, or the next step is you're going to do a formal price proposal. Make sure that you're closing all of those steps, but closing prematurely is a death blow for you. You have to make sure that all of that value is established. You have to make sure that you understand what their current situation looks like, what their ideal solution looks like, and you can definitively place a value on bridging that gap. Don't close prematurely. Not checking in for a decision early and often, right? This is kind of outside the spectrum of negotiation. But we mess this up. We keep negotiating thinking they haven't made a decision, and we're not saying little simple things like, hey, just out of curiosity, have you made a decision yet? Yeah, we have. Remember that your prospects always make decisions 2 times. Once in their head, once internally and once externally. Even if you're working with a large company, there's oftentimes a meeting that happens that you don't even know about before your meeting. And they may say, hey, we're going with so-and-so, right? I just need to make sure that you ask them this thing, and this thing, right? Figure out those 3 things so we can let Gina over in IT know what's going on, who's going to host the servers. But they've already internally made a decision that they're going with you. If you're not checking in with them, it's a huge mistake. Why? You can only talk yourself out of a sale. Why else? You're going to continue to drop your price thinking they haven't made a decision. So make sure that you're practicing different ways that you can check in with them. The simplest is saying, hey, just out of curiosity, have you guys made a decision yet? Hey, before we start the meeting, I'm just curious. Have you guys made a decision yet? Yeah, we have. We're going to go with you. Gina just needs to know A, B, and C, right? That's going to lead to a much better meeting for you than just rolling in and assuming they haven't made a decision. So those are the common mistakes that we make as salespeople in negotiation. I know that you've made every single one of those, okay? Even if you're saying you haven't, I think if we thought back long enough, you have. And that's okay. The important thing is We're conscious of them now, and we're going to try and make them a lot less in the future. The world of sales has completely changed. Today's customer has access to more information. Today's customer has more choices. The business world needs you. Studies have shown that 84% of salespeople fail to achieve their goals. The old sales training, well, it just doesn't work today. I'd like to teach you how to take the stress out of selling in a way that's meaningful to you and your customers and get you 7 times more business. I'll show you how the perfect sales process works. I'm gonna walk you through everything from prospecting to closing the deal. I'm gonna show you how to determine your prospects' wants and their needs so you can build value in your solutions. You will learn how to handle any objection or complaint. I'm gonna show you how to connect with your customer so it's easy for them to buy from you. I've taught the best companies in the world and thousands of people just like you how to hit their targets. Selling is complicated. I'll simplify it for you. There's more competition than ever before. I'm gonna show you how to be number one. All of a sudden, your career is gonna make perfect sense, even if you've never worked in sales or the corporate world before. And for the advanced sales professionals, I'm gonna show you how to take things to the next level. Easton University is a new, simple, step-by-step process that's effective in any industry, large or small. You are about to become a certified master sales consultant. I'm Matt Easton, and this is Easton University.